Two, one. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Muscle and Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Coach David Brayson, and today I have the pleasure of having a friend of mine from years ago, and we just reconnected. Not too long ago. Miss Shauna, sonographer squads, famous on all over social media for helping people change their life. What's up, girl? How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, David?
It's the greatest day of my whole entire existence. I've never been better.
I love this for
It's a
you.
good day. It's a good day to be alive.
Amen.
So, I wanted to bring you on because for all the time that I've known you, you're somebody who is very positive. You have made a career doing what you love, and you keep yourself in check all the time. Like you do the things that you love, but you always have that goal of where you want to be in mind. There's no derailing, but that took a long time to build, right? Um, Used to go off actually with one of the first questions that we got from followers, like how did you get to the point where you were able to keep yourself so accountable on your own that you could not derail no matter what else was happening in your life?
That's a great question. And I'm glad we're starting with accountability. I feel like when you're dedicated to something, the accountability is like the glue that ties the commitment to the result, right? So when you're committed to something, you need to have that glue. And inevitably, like it depends on what kind of glue you use, right? Are you using Elmer's or are you using super glue? Because the way that that's going to hold together looks different for everybody. So it's making time and holding yourself accountable because often what I notice is a lot of people they project what should be happening in their life on other people. Like, this is the reason I couldn't do this, or this is the reason I couldn't do that. And that's a really easy way out. It's kind of like pointing fingers instead of looking into the mirror, right? So it's not about if you're going to make time, it's when you're going to make it. Like, you're going to make the time. You have to. And if it's something you really want, otherwise you're just going to spend your life making excuses. And so
For
holding
sure.
yourself accountable is not easy. It's not easy at all. But it starts with small habits and they compound. And then when you start seeing results, it's even more encouraging. But that takes a long time. It takes a lot of discipline and dedication. And you have to show up every day, like even on the tough days. And you know this as well as me. It's not easy. And if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? So keeping that mindset and that goal in mind. And like I said, I just think of the accountability as the glue. It ties your commitment to the result. And then how you do one thing is how you do everything in your life. So that's going to look like that's going to radiate in your relationships, in your friendships, in fitness, in health, in your career. So think about that. Like every single day, like how are you showing up and holding yourself accountable?
Yeah, that is so key and so important because the first thing that you said was habits, right? And that is the key to achieving anything in life, whether it be financial success, health success, relationship success. What are these habits helping you achieve in your life, and how committed are you to actually making it part of your everyday to make sure that you're able to get to that promised land of whatever goal you're setting to yourself? So, what do you think the most important habit that you've built over the past 15 years, I'm going to say, has been?
Ooh, that's a good one because I've changed so much. I want to say, because I'm really big about my morning routine. Like for me, if I don't do that, I'm way off, right? Um, but I think asking the question and leaving space to receive the answer has changed my life. Like we ask questions all day long, right? So my habit is wake up and I have goals, right? I have my morning routine. I have things that I want to do, but there's always stuff in our life that takes more time, right? And so having that patience, so asking and leaving space to receive is a habit that I've built every single day because of course we want the relationship, we want the dream job, we want all these things. And we ask, and when we ask, it's in our vortex, it's in the universe, but we don't leave any space to receive the answer. So then we're in this slippery slope spiral. So I make it really important to start my morning with gratitude, meditation, and then asking and leaving space to receive whatever I know is happening for me. Because even if that day, I say this all the time, if all four of my tires pop, it's fine. It happened for me. There's a reason. Maybe I just avoided the accident down the road, you know? And so it's perspective, because every day is not going to be perfect. But it's not about avoiding like obstacles or looking for perfection. It's about embracing that and riding the bumpy road, taking the dirt road instead of the pavement sometimes, and just feeling what you feel, if that makes sense.
All right, I'm gonna end the episode right here because you just drop a mic like I've like never before. You just nailed it. I love it. So, gosh, now I wanna. I'm going overall now. I want to know about your morning routine because I don't know a single successful person, not like in general, somebody who wants to get to this goal who doesn't have a routine that gets them in the right mindset for every day. So what does your morning look like?
I
Like,
love
start
that.
from zero. What do you do as soon as you wake up?
First of all, I always make sure your morning starts the night before. That's my true thing. Like if you go to bed, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, you read a couple pages out of a book, you keep the blue light off. How you end your night is how you're going to begin your morning. So you're taking shots of tequila till midnight. I'm going to tell you what, your morning's not going to start off very nice. So I make sure I prioritize 6 to 8 hours of sleep. For me, that looks different every day, just depending on, that the night before, what it looks like. And then a couple days of the week, I do yoga at 5:30 in the morning. So if I have yoga in the morning, I do wake up, I go to yoga, but then I come home and I do what I would normally do if I didn't have yoga, which is I light the same incense every day. Time has, location has a memory. So doing things in the same spot every day is really important. So I'm always in the same spot for this. So I light an incense. I always have my cup of coffee. I'll meditate for 5 to 10 minutes. Something that I've learned is that I love the Calm app and the Headspace app. But as I've grown into my meditation, it's good to just sit, just let those thoughts come and go. Whatever that looks like, 5 minutes can turn into 30. So if it's not a yoga day, I wake up, like I drink a cup of water, always hydrate before you dehydrate. We go right to our coffee. I light my incense. I will meditate. And then I'm typically reading some book, one of my books. In the morning, I really it's more motivational for me. And at nighttime, my book reading is more like, let's kind of decompress and gratitude and all these things. So then I read out of my book and then I'll jumpstart my day, whether that looks like going to a coffee shop to do work, or if I'm working in the hospital, I go to the hospital. But even if you work an 8 to 5 or 9 to 4, whatever the case may be, you can always wake up 30 minutes earlier and move your body. And then the other thing I do is I will walk outside with Remy, my puppy, or I'll just walk outside by myself and make sure I get the vitamin D. So the vitamin D, the reading, the meditation sets me up for a great day. And I have to tell you, when I don't do it, I know that I don't do it because my day goes to shit.
Yep, I agree 100%. Because actually today, I changed up my morning routine. Right, I do basically the same thing that you do, but I don't read a book. I read the Bible, which is, I guess, it's a book, right? I do a mass every morning. I go to church every morning at home. I cannot go on with my day if I don't listen to the word. Like, that's something that I do. Actually, my parents just got me the new nicest Roman daily missal, which is amazing for me. Today, I decided to wake up earlier, so my morning is starting at 3:50 a.m. instead of 4:10 a.m. Right, which is, for most people, that's too early, but I work better in the morning.
I'm the same way.
I'm halfway through my day by 9:30 a.m. Right,
Yep.
and then I take a little break. We are now in a different city, so instead of going for a loop around my neighborhood, I actually go to the beach. So this morning, I took my shoes off and I walked on the beach for 1 whole hour. And I simply cannot tell you how good it feels to just be there
Yeah.
and do my meditation through, while walking, just being one with myself and understanding that if I don't have a relationship and a connection with myself, when I go on with my day and try to give a little me to somebody else, I simply can't, because I don't have time for myself, right?
Yep.
So I make sure that I fill my cup to the highest level so I can then just pour to everybody else's. And
Absolutely. You can't give, and in our field, in a lot of fields, it requires you to give, and you shouldn't feel completely drained of your energy if you take care of yourself. Like, I can give
exactly.
all day to people and feel amazing at the end of the day if my energy is there and I've worked on myself, but if I miss me, I'm missing my target all day long, and I feel like, like, I just am completely drained by the end of the day, so I totally relate to that, and I am a water girl, like, I any good ideas that I've ever come up with in my life is me by the water. So I am very envious of your morning.
Yeah, it feels pretty damn good just to like walk to the beach and be there, listen to the ocean, and use. I I like to speak things, right? People say speak things into existence. I actually say it out loud, right?
Yep.
I have my mentor, right? He has a morning gathering that we do, and I actually started doing it with my group, but now I do it by myself. So I get in my office, and every single morning I say, "I'm the one. I'm the greatest." I say all the things that I want to become. I literally say it out loud. My wife sometimes she gets annoyed because I'm yelling at 3:30 in the morning. Whenever I wake up at 3:30, it's like I'm just yelling the happiest things ever. Just because before I become this something, I have to act like the person that I want to become, right? And it all comes down to my morning routine. And that's gonna get us now to, how do you make sure that you keep doing this every day? How are you keeping yourself accountable to not say, you know what, it's too early. I don't want to wake up. I'm just going to wake up at 7:30 instead of, 3:50 a.m. How do you do that? Because you wake up early, you're a morning person, you do your yoga, read, coffee. What drives you to keep doing this every day?
I feel good, and once you start feeling good, you show up as that person every single day, and that takes a lot of time, and we talked about judgment and having grace as well, right? So I don't judge myself, I give myself grace. If I need to sleep in, I've become much more intuitive with my body, like, that's rare for me, but if I do it, I'm listening to my body, and it's okay. I'm not saying, "Shauna, you're a terrible person." Like, I don't rip myself apart. Like, what just happened to me in Greece, right? I was robbed in Greece, and I told you, and a lot of people saw that journey, right? I didn't look in the mirror and say, "You're so stupid. Like, why did you bring your passport with you?" I could have torn myself down, but I didn't. Because when we do that to ourselves, coming back to our morning routine, it doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't serve us. It's sending our bodies and our hearts a message that we're not good enough and that we're a failure. And if you're telling yourself that, that's all that's going to show up in your life. Like, nothing positive is going to show up for you if you're talking down to yourself. So I know how good I feel, okay? And so I make it a point to show up like that every day, but I am also human. So there are days that I do not do that. There are days that I'm like, nope, I just don't feel like it. However, again, grace, compassion, non-judgment allows me to get right back on track because it's okay. It's okay. Everybody's gonna, your feelings change, and day to day as women, we have hormones. Like, some days I could sleep for 11 hours. Other days I'm like, oh, 2 in the morning, like, let's throw a party. So you have to just give yourself grace and listen to your body at the same time as being accountable and loving yourself in all stages of your life.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the world is already judging you. So why would you judge yourself?
Well, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yep, and we fear what other people think, we live our lives in fear and uncertainty, and it's a shame because if you love yourself, that's the only thing that matters. We look for love outside of us. We look for accountability outside of us. Why? Why when you look in the mirror, you have everything you need right there. And, like, if you can live like that, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how liberating it is. Like, you just shrug off everything. People flip me off in traffic or whatever, and I wave, "Well, hi, sorry,"
Yeah.
I just there's nothing that's gonna get a rise out of me. Nothing is big enough to get a rise out of me because I love me. I'm perfectly imperfect, and so is each and every one of you, all of my clients, everybody out there, and if you live like that, man, it's beautiful and it radiates. People feel it.
Yeah, I love that because you said compassion. And I think that is a word that people need to internalize, realize, and eat it, breathe it, drink it every day.
Yeah.
So that way they can understand how far they can go. When you're compassionate about yourself, you stop feeling sorry about yourself,
Yep.
right? When you keep putting yourself as the victim and you're judging yourself for doing something because life happens. Remember that life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. So when you keep putting yourself down for everything that happens in your life, you're not being compassionate, and all that happens is like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. When are you going to take that break to say, you know what? Shit happens. Let me put myself back in the number one seat so I can take care of everything that happens in my head, in my life, with my health. But as long as you keep putting yourself in the back burner and you keep judging yourself for every fucking thing you do, you will remain in the same place because you simply don't understand that the most important person in your life is yourself.
Absolutely.
You
I
know?
couldn't agree with you more. And, what's interesting is life, it creates situations that push you to your edges every single day. Every single day we are pushed to an edge. So I always tell people, I offer you a moment, just stay at the edge. Be a little bit uncomfortable, but love yourself through that. Like, embrace life happening for you, just like you said. I say that all the time. Otherwise, you spend your life pent up with hatred and a polluted mind, right? But the choice is yours. Like, just because you showed up, you could be different than you were yesterday, and today's the day. Like, show up differently and love yourself.
Yeah, that is. Just love yourself. Love yourself. When I'm doing my trainings, and I'm sure you get the same thing. I say that I love myself so much that people sometimes might get annoyed because it's too much positivity at once. It's like, yo, I love myself to the point that I feel like it's just like I cannot be angry simply because I woke up today. And I'm glad not everybody has to go through this, but I've lost way too many people in my life to be feeling a different way. There are people that are not in my life anymore that don't have the chance to wake up. So every time I have the chance to just remind myself that I am here, it's just the most perfect reminder of self love, self gratitude, self accountability. What would I do to have those people again with me? Right. And when I'm not loving myself, I'm doing them a disgrace for not putting myself first and instead somebody else's opinion. So that to me is like a really big driving factor, or I really don't use the word motivation much, but a reminder of always putting myself in a position that it's not easy to be taken down from.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely, because you get to do this. You don't have to do this.
Exactly.
And if you can do that, you can give yourself a lot of grace and compassion and just show up every single day as your best self.
Yeah. Um, yeah. That got me in my feelings there. So another thing that I want to touch on is what you do, because we both work with a lot of women, right, from all over, who are trying to not find themselves but recreate themselves in a way that they love the way they look. They're happy. When they see themselves in the mirror, and all the mindset that you need to have and the positivity around yourself in order to get there. So why don't you tell me a little bit of exactly? I know, but I want the listeners to know what you do and how you help women.
I love that. It's such a blanketed question because people often come to me and they wanna lose 20 or 30 pounds, the typical weight loss goal, right? What it always turns into, and it has for the couple years that I've done this, is it starts with the mind. So, honestly, my approach is a holistic approach, mind, body, soul. So you can come to me and want that scale to move. That scale's not gonna move until we work on what you're telling yourself, until we manage your sleep, until we manage your stress. How are your relationships at work? How are your relationships at home? What's your support system like? Oh, have we looked at your hormones? Everybody's hormones are different. So people come for usually the same reason and then leave with something completely different. And now I've worked with a lot of women and men too, honestly. But women with the hormone imbalance, this is like a huge thing. You don't realize how much your hormones affect your everyday life. But again, it starts in your mind. So I like to say that our thoughts become our words, and our words become our beliefs, and our beliefs become our actions become our habits, and then our habits become our reality, right? So it starts in the mind. So the holistic approach, helping women lose that weight, starts with what you tell yourself, and then finding ways to manage things, because people have families. They work a lot of hours. It's about customizing what works for your lifestyle so you can maintain it long term, not some cookie cutter program that works for me and you. That's just not, it's not sustainable. That's why we have a issue with yo-yo dieting and fads and all this stuff. And my old clients still will message me, Sean, I just want to lose a little bit of weight. Can I do this juice cleanse? I'm like, are you crazy? Did I teach you anything? You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. And so, yeah, a holistic approach, mind, body, soul. And when you feel connected to yourself, everything else falls into place.
Yeah. And we share the same beliefs when it comes to that. And the most difficult way to lose is simply the way that a stress brings into your life.
Oh, yeah.
you know so you don't have a good relationship at work. You mentioned work and your life. You don't have a partner that is supporting your fitness goals because they don't simply understand the way you feel. As a woman, it's like, well, dude, you don't have a period. It's like, well, I've coached a bunch of them, so I kind of know what a period feels like.
Yep. Yep.
But a lot of men, they don't understand what a menstrual cycle is. When you look at yourself in the mirror and you're naked and you say, holy shit, I hate the way I look, right? But and you see, it's just like, well, I'm doing all these things and nothing work. But it's just this self-limiting belief that you have in your head that everything that you're doing doesn't work because of something. When in reality, it's the fact that you do not believe that you actually can accomplish that goal.
Yep.
Because going back to, you don't love yourself enough to realize your potential, right? Um, what do you think about that?
No, I think you're spot on. If you don't work on your mind, that starts with opening a book. That starts with walking in nature. That starts with gratitude. Look up at the sky like, thank you. I woke up today. Like you said, not everybody woke up today. Start with that. And then when it comes to work, like I get that. I've worked in the healthcare field. It's a drama filled. A lot of careers are, especially when it's a lot of males or a lot of females. And so when that happens, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just
Okay.
switching my camera.
Oh, there you go.
My camera died.
So when that happens, it's important to remove yourself from those situations. So me in the medical field is interesting because people won't come to me and talk about other people because they know that I won't respond. I don't get involved in it. And if you don't get involved with it, people stop coming to you with their crap, with their shit, with their heavy luggage that you think you're just taking in and letting go, but you're holding it within you. And it's actually more stressful than you feel, like than you know. And it's in you. You keep it tight because you care, like you're human. Um, so removing yourself from those situations is very, very important to decrease the stress in your life. And again, work on your mindset. Be that positive person. People think I'm weirdly positive, and I'm like, why can't we all be this way? Like, I'm just
Yeah.
happy, like there's no bad days. And so that's a great question. And I think you're spot on with the answer.
Yeah. When people, if they understood that fitness is going to be part of their lives for the rest of their lives, they're gonna forget dieting. They're
Yep.
gonna forget having to, I have to go work out. It's like, yo, you have to do this forever. Like, you have to walk until you might not be able to work because you're old. You have to eat because you need to fuel your body. You need to drink water because your body needs water.
Yep.
So you need to stop looking at it as the task that I have to complete and look at it as like, well, if I don't do this, I might die. I know I take it to that extreme, but it's a reality.
It
You
is,
know,
and like you said, you can love it if you realize, like, you lose sight of, "Oh, I have to do this." Do the things you love, do the things that make you feel good, and appreciate how special you are. There's nobody like you, and you have all these gifts and talents that can't find their way to the surface for the world to be in service of others if you don't know how to take care of yourself. It starts with
yeah.
you. So then, like you said, you get to your deathbed, and then you have all these people, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like, I don't want that for you. You're better than that. And I don't care if you're 30 listening to this or 70 listening to this, it's never too late.
One of the things that I really like to do which it's weird, right? I'm gonna be 26 this month. People think that I'm 40. Um, I like to go and talk to older people, referring to 70 and above. Like that's what I'm older.
Mm.
Um, and I just simply like to ask them questions such as, "What is your biggest regret in life?" And I have not heard a single one yet that said, "I wish," well, they say, "Well, I wish I would have enjoyed my life more. I wish I would have taken that leap of faith to do this something. I wish I would have gone on this hike. I wish I would have been more connected with myself." Right? And it's really sad to see somebody in their last years of life saying, "I wish I would have. Man, I could have done something." And right now, we're both in a mission of trying to empower people to be to be more in touch with their inner self, to understand that they're able to do anything they want. We do it through fitness because that's what we know how to do. But fitness is the least thing that actually plays a role into your life if you're not connected, if your mental health is not in the right place. Because you've competed, I've competed, we've been very competitive, and I can promise you the time where I hated myself the most, to the point that I just didn't have any kind of life whatsoever, that's when I competed. And my quote unquote best look, like the time that I've looked the best, is when I was the least happy. What can you relate to that? Or have you had a different experience?
So I think it's interesting because competing taught me a lot, right? After 7 years of it, it taught me a lot of discipline. It taught me so much about myself that I'm capable of, and I truly feel it's launched me to where I am today. However, what like you just said, what people see and how I felt, I look at those pictures and I'm like, I'm starving. I look at the pictures and I'm like, Where'd my face go? Like, what are the I look like a skeleton. No wonder you had no libido. No wonder you were single. And it's not like I'm punishing myself, but I see it differently now that I've stepped away from it, right? So often when things are happening for us in the moment, in the shitstorm, I like to say, we can't see why it's happening, but then reflecting back, we definitely can. And to piggyback off what you said about speaking to older people, I think for me, working in the hospital has brought a lot of clarity into my life, because just last weekend I had two different scenarios. I had one patient who was in her 40s, literally just got a death sentence. Like, I was there when it
Wow.
happened, family's there. So I've been doing this 10 years, but the tears still come to my eyes. I still walk out of that room like, holy shit, like, your life can change just like that. So if that resonates with one person, that's why I shared it. Then I go to a different room, and there's a guy, and he's probably 70s, 80s, I don't even remember, but he had just backpacked through Japan with his wife 2 years ago. And I was like so inspired, right? I just booked a trip to Tokyo because of this man, okay? And I'm like determined to go, and like he told me where to go. And literally, like I said, he's very sick now, and that was 2 years ago. So if the advice that I get from old people is always like, don't wait, do it now. And I'm like, I am doing it now, but people think I'm crazy, and I don't care. I'm just trying to inspire people, right? So I think when you're in the moment of things, it's hard to see why you're doing it or what's working or what's not. But when you reflect back, that's where you learn. So I offer people time to make sure you reflect on what you just went through, whether it be a divorce, whether it be backpacking Europe, whether it be competing. Reflect on it, see what you learned from it, grow from that, and then it's launching you into the next level of your life, which is beautiful. But you need to reflect in order to move forward, and see, like, you're amazing. You're literally an amazing.
That is just another mic drop. Like you just nailed that again. Like reflection, reflection, reflection. Like learning from every experience that you go through in life is the best school that you will ever go to.
Oh, I like that. The best
The
school,
school,
yes.
the school of life is the only one that's going to teach you all these different things that you learned. Actually, I stole that from Tony Robbins, so don't give me
Oh, I
credit.
love him, love him.
I'm not taking credit for that.
Yeah.
But again, just going a little, going back to competing a little bit. Even though I felt disconnected from myself, it taught me so much because of the amount of discipline that you need in order to succeed in the sport, that it tells me right now that waking up at 3:50 in the morning, gosh, that's nothing. I had to do 2 hours of cardio. I had to eat no food. I had to literally eliminate myself from the world in order to place where I place, right? And it only taught me commitment, which
Yeah.
is what sadly most people lack, because they're waiting for somebody else to say, hey Shauna, hey David, you can do it. It's like, fuck that. I tell myself that I can do it. That's why I'm able to do all the things that I can do, just because I believe in myself that I'm capable of doing all these different things, simply because, going back to self accountability and self love, I don't need somebody to tell me you're good enough. I know that. I tell it to myself every day.
Yeah.
And competing taught me that, but the school of life made me understand and realize that whatever I want to do and whoever I want to do, I have to become it first. um and that's, again, we're here, I'm here preaching to the choir, right? um
No, I'm right with you. Anything in your life, like any kind of improvement in your life is gonna require a delicate balance. Like, you need to reflect on the relationship you just got out of. You need to take time for you so you don't carry that baggage into the next relationship. Like, it's with anything. And, like, if you look at any successful people, what do? They reflect, but they also handle boredom. And what I mean by that is, like, committing to something every single day can get boring. Like, it feels good sometimes to get out of your routine, but if you can embrace the boredom, you're becoming. This is your becoming. And it's bored because it's good for you sometimes, you know what I mean? So sometimes just showing up every single day, and then it becomes quality of life. Like, any kind of mastery requires patience and practice, and if you embrace that and you commit to yourself, you can show up and, like, literally, like, just love every day. Like, today's a great day, Like, it's why not?
yeah. And I simply love what you're saying. I think this so far has to be my favorite podcast that I've ever done.
Oh,
um
I'm honored.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not saying it because I'm talking to you. I truly believe I've never had an conversation this in depth with somebody that shared the same belief with me, right? And you said you said that you want to act like the person that you want to become. Right now, the things that I'm doing is because I have a certain business goal that I want to get to. I want to I want to be able to touch people and through my voice. But in order for me to empower somebody, I have to be able that I'm doing all the things that I want them to do, and I have to be doing them times 10. I cannot tell somebody, you want to do all this cardio because it's going to help you. If I'm going to tell somebody to do something, I have to do it myself first. So I cannot tell somebody, if you wake up really early, you're going to have a more productive day when I'm waking up at 11:30 a.m. I want to be able to say everything that I'm telling you and I'm showing you, everything that I'm recommending, is because I have already done it through self accountability. I tried it for this long and it worked. And you have to go through your own difficulties in life to learn, because it's really damn hard to learn from somebody else's experience. It's like, I think that that self accountability and self judgment is what hold most people back from achieving their goals.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, piggybacking, like I said, off of what you just said, like, if you become the storyteller of your life, that means you're showing up every single day, regardless if you want to or what other people say, which is why I travel, which is why I leave my 9 to 5 to start my own business and take the risks. All these things turn me into a storyteller. And if you're a storyteller of your life, people feel that. Like you said, you can't give advice to somebody if you haven't lived it. So if somebody's
Yeah.
gonna come to me and be like, "So I wanna backpack Europe, what do I do?" Well, let me tell you, I got a 200-page book coming in hot, right? Or, like, competing. If you're gonna come to me and ask about competing, my honest opinion, I'm not gonna help you get on stage. It goes against my beliefs at this point. Did I learn
Yeah.
something from it? Yes, but I'm not the girl for you. I will tell you why I feel like this is a dangerous sport to get into, what it's done to my body image, what it's done to my relationship with food. And most people won't admit that. They will not admit
Yeah.
that. And they want to, like, I love social media for a reason. However, there's there's negative aspects to it, like it's the highlight reel of people's lives. That happy
Exactly.
couple, there's infidelity. That fitness competitor, she's picking herself apart. She's not sleeping. She has no sex drive. Like all of these things, like, and not everybody can read between the lines, especially if you haven't lived it. So if you're going to give advice on anything, serve the pain you know best. That's my motto. Serve the pain you know best.
I
So
love that.
you've been through it, go teach it. Be the storyteller of your life. Right?
I love that. I agree at 1,000,000%. This is so true, right? And you said, a highlight of someone's life, and you have to write your own story. You have to go through your own, bottlenecks and hurdles and all these different difficult times in your life in order for you to learn what to do. And I don't how often do you see somebody who is extremely successful who didn't go through the toughest times? How many, I'm gonna use the word, multi-millionaires. Do you know that we're not a drug addict at some point?
None.
Name me one.
Yeah.
They all went through a very difficult time. I'm not telling you guys. I'm not telling you to go start, taking drugs. I'm telling you that you, I'm telling that you need to go through really tough times in order to learn what's next. Because
You need
when you embrace the difficult times, the happy times are going to be so much easier to just cruise through. So, embrace your journey
yeah.
and understand that you are the only person in the whole entire world that can help you get there to where you want to go. We can give you the tools if you want to lose fat, you want to lose weight, easy, no problem. That's the easy part.
Mhm. Yep.
It comes down to you wanting to do the rest of the work in order to get to that promised land that that landmark that you set yourself to get to.
Yeah. I mean, finding dignity in rock bottom, right? Like there's the profound awareness that can permeate through you, right? When you turn failure into feedback. Think about it. It's a journey to find and feel joy, and that's how I got my podcast name, Waves of Joy. I was literally at the beach in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'll never forget it. I was like, "Oh my god, I want to start a podcast. What am I going to call this?" Like no idea, right? And so I'm watching the waves go back and forth out, and I'm like, "Oh my god, like this took hours, you guys. This didn't just fall out of the sky." Um, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the journey of life, right?" It's like the undercurrents pull us out to the deep end. They pull us really, really deep where we don't feel like it's dark, we can't get back up. Inevitably, you're going to come up and you're going to get back to shore. But it's usually at a place where you didn't think you would be, which is why it's called waves of joy, because the undercurrents are going to pull you out, but you're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay as long as you're okay. And just land where you land. And then your life is literally joy no matter what.
I love the name of
It's
the
a different way to
podcast. Make
thank
sure you
you.
send me the link. Send me the link so I can plug it into the description of this episode.
I would love
Because
to.
I think all the people listening will benefit from listening to your story, your advice, and simply what you have to share. I think we have given a lot of value in just a short 30 minutes of 35 minutes of this.
Yeah.
We could talk for another 2 hours,
I
but
know,
I
I
think
know.
I think I want to leave it for another episode so people can keep coming back.
I
Um,
love that.
and I just want to thank you for coming on.
Of
I chose right. I thought of a few people in my head. All right, who can I reach out to talk about self accountability and judgment? Like I literally I was scrolling on Instagram. It's like, who do I know that I can have an open conversation about it? And guys, we don't talk. We don't ever talk. Just so
we
you guys,
don't ever talk.
yeah, we don't like. I just said, hey, want to come on the podcast? It's like, sure. Um,
The
this
law of
is
attraction, though. We have good energy, good joy. We put emphasis on what matters to us in our life, and you attract those people, and it's just a natural connection. So I love that you stated that we're not like talking every day. This is just natural, and I love it. I love it. It's so great.
yeah, and for I think I'm not gonna say. I think you guys should go to Shauna's Instagram and podcast so you can see what she went through in Europe and learn also about the book that she's writing. which I'm really excited about because I think you girls are going to just get so much value from this because I'm going to, and I have been, and that's why I reached out to her to to come on the show and just share just a little tiny bit about her experience in life and how that could impact you. So, with that being said, I just wanted to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your life. I hope you keep impacting people in all the most positive ways you can. And just thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit of you.
Absolutely, David. Thank you for having me. And hey, I just want to tell people just build a life of joy in the unknown. In the unknown, in the uncertainty, this is where your life is happening for you. And again, serve the pain you know best. If you've lived it, be about it. Show up in that way, and you'll never have regrets.
Love it. Guys, thank you for coming on to the episode. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out Shauna's podcast on Instagram, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.